get his take on that in just a minute. Nigel Farage joins us now. So, Nigel, have you spoken to Vladimir Putin recently? And what did you think of the hearings?
No, I've not been in touch with Putin for all days now. Please don't take that seriously. As you say, we are living through a sort of McCarthyite-style era. I think the most important takeout for me is that nothing...
I found a way to track the root system within Gotham.
Follow the roots. They'll take you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Playing political games, leaking.
Alpha target hit. Going for the kill.
Ooh. Okay, that's it. That's it. Yeah, I'm playing Batman.
The FBI director himself was leaking stories to the press. Did that seem odd to you?
Just forgot. I can bring her back.
Had law enforcement official in America been leaking stories?
Okay, I'm almost to the root.
It doesn't seem odd. It seems disgraceful. You know, he was.
Oh, you're seeing me?
Political games.
Play.
No, I mean, I do get the feeling that sort of so much of the establishment seems to want Trump to fail, and is trying to trip him up at every given opportunity. Well, you know what? They haven't succeeded today.
Yeah.
That comes across as somewhat disingenuous.
Yeah, and the president's been helping. So there's an election going on in your island nation tonight, and it looks like
no, it doesn't show my face.
Jeremy Corbyn is doing.
Oh yeah, you were watching.
At least in this country.
Oh no.
Winning, and what would that mean?
Okay. People are trying to come destroy the planes.
We will leave the European Union.
Do you see that?
This year. And I think in the end, what this campaign was about was
They're
personal.
attacking my plant. Protect
Was a
her.
Remainer. It was trying to set
Oh,
really believing it.
Establish a
She came
perimeter.
across
No
as
one gets on this
as
roof.
robotic.
I can make her
She
bark
refused to go
harder
out
than
and really
steel,
meet
but
the
I
public.
need time.
Ooh.
Lefty. I mean, he's virtually a Marxist. He looked comfortable.
Oh.
He looked comfortable in his own skin.
Hold them all.
True it is, but I take down most of it before.
Becomes prime minister. It is
What?
very bad news.
Keep them away.
It's very bad news.
Oh yeah.
American.
This-
This guy
Ah.
has been anti-American for the whole of his political career.
Well, I died.
And it looks like we could be on the verge
gotta go
with this
wash your
election.
ass.
Theresa May have made by calling this early election
Well, I died.
a really historic mistake.
I mean, at least if I was saying right now that that's a terrifying
Did you
possibility.
take all the
So,
quarters out of
say a
here?
prayer. Nigel Farage, great to see you.
Thank you.
Comey's testimony said he didn't do much to encourage further investigation of President Trump, but what about Comey himself? Some are saying it's time to consider investigating him. Radio show host Dan Lash will be here with that perspective in just moments.
Okay.
She will die unless you stop them. Hold them all.
10 of our drivers another warning to the 2017 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport.
Keep them away.
Get $3,000 cash back, 0% APR plus $500 cash back.
I expect I take easier trails than I used to.
I need more
I
time.
have a higher risk of stroke due to AFib.
Hey, look at this.
Caused by a heart valve problem. But no matter what path I take, I
Keep
will
fighting, Batman.
So if there's something better than morphine, I'll go for that too. Eliquis. Eliquis reduced the risk of stroke better.
Protect her, Batman. Just a little longer.
Eliquis had both.
Don't stop taking Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to. Now, Ari increases your risk of having a stroke.
Not long
Eliquis
now.
can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for the bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all 5 or dental procedures.
I'm still going for my best. And for Eliquis.
Ask your doctor about Eliquis.
Tonight, FNC is live with special coverage of the Comey testimony and UK election. Harry continues his powerful coverage at 11, followed by special report.
At Southern New Hampshire University,
Woo!
traveled across the country.
to celebrate the success of our online students who couldn't attend graduation. Thank you guys for giving me the chance again. It's something that I worked for a long time. Because we believe student success is success worth celebrating.
She's fully
Who
mature.
did you get this degree for? I got it for me.
I wish I knew this one.
Run.
Of course. I did it for you.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, Daddy.
Find your online graduate or undergraduate program today at snhu.edu.
What's the secret to running a successful business? It takes vision,
Alfred,
perseverance,
I'm heading to the
and
movie
capital.
studios.
The first
Prepare
two
the
are up to
analysis
you.
of the
When
Arkham
it
Knight's
comes to
stronghold
capital,
on Founders
debt
Island.
is a small
It's
business
time we
loan
took the fight to
expert.
them.
Hi, I'm Barbara Cooper.
Very well,
For
Sam.
me, having access to capital was a
await.
game changer. I turned $1,000 into one of New York's largest real estate companies. On Deck can get you the funding to take your business to the next level. If you have the vision, On Deck has the funding. To find out how much you qualify for, go to OnDeckTV.com.
Hi. I'm the one clocking in when you're clocking out. Sensing your every move and automatically adjusting to help you stay effortlessly comfortable. There. I can even warm these to help you fall asleep faster. Does your bed do that? Oh, I don't actually talk, though I'm smart enough to. I'm the new Sleep Number 360 smart bed. Let's move. Have something to store.
There's still a trial left for you to complete.
We do everything to protect your home.
Think of
But
yourself
today,
as
you're more likely to get hacked.
as your labor.
Your home is full of
Of course,
devices
they are
sending your
labors
data
of
to
the
the
mind.
internet.
Much unlike
Hackers
that
can invade your
dullard
privacy,
demigod,
steal your
tedious
data and
test of
finances
strength.
without you even knowing it. Cujo is a smart firewall that secures all devices connected to your Wi-Fi router. When Cujo detects a threat, it blocks it and notifies you immediately, ensuring what matters most is protected. Stay safe online. Get Cujo at these wonderful retailers.
Robin's down there right now.
You remember Kurt Eichenwald, he's the newsweek reporter who self-immolated on the show about 6 months ago. We invited him on to prove his claim that Donald Trump once spent time in a mental hospital, but Eichenwald never did prove it. Instead, he lost control of himself completely, shouting and gesticulating, making weird noises on the set. By the end of the interview, he was sputtering something incomprehensible about the CIA. It was enough to make you feel kind of sorry for Kurt Eichenwald, and actually, no kidding, we did. MSNBC, by contrast, was impressed by his performance. So impressed, they hired him as a contributor. It seemed like kind of a weird decision at the time. It seems reckless now. Because yesterday, Eichenwald was back on Twitter yelling about his political views. As it happened, he was actually attacking the show. And to prove his point, whatever that was, he tweeted a picture of his home computer. Within minutes, sharp-eyed internet users noticed that he'd left a tab open in the picture, and it was a link to hardcore Japanese cartoon pornography. It exists, and it's every bit as creepy as it sounds. The internet erupted, but Eichenwald had a ready explanation for all this. Here's what he later tweeted. We're quoting, "Believe it or not, my kids and I were trying to convince my wife that tentacle porn existed. I tried to find some to show her it was real, but I couldn't find any, and ended up with this. My family reads my Twitter feed, so they know this is true."
Yes, I know.
Come clean
Well, of
like you
course,
did
just
with
another
Gordon.
afternoon of surfing the internet for hardcore porn with your kids. Makes
when we
sense.
can crush him later.
Well, it's easy to mock an explanation that absurd, and a lot of America is doing that right now. But let's be honest, for real, this is a troubled man. It doesn't help Kurt Eichenwald to pretend he's okay. He's not okay. He shouldn't be on Twitter. He needs help. His employers obviously know that. They've got Twitter, but they don't care. Because whenever Kurt Eichenwald says something outrageous, just a few months ago, he said every Republican voting to repeal Obamacare ought to have a family member die in agony because, quote, he wanted to see them be tortured.
Forget about the cure.
The left responds with glee. YouTube gets clicks, MSNBC gets viewers. It's awful. They're exploiting him. It's cruel. So these supposedly serious news organizations, a plea, for real, stop Kurt Eichenwald before he tweets again. He will thank you later for that, if you do. Well, there's been a lot of leaks out of the executive branch this year, and today Jim Comey openly admitted to being the source of one of them.
The president tweeted on Friday, after I got fired, that I better hope there's not tapes. I woke up in the middle of the night on Monday night, because it didn't dawn on me originally, that there might be corroboration for our conversation. There might be a tape. And my judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter.
So why didn't you give those to somebody yourself rather than give them through a third party?
Because I was worried the media was camping at the end of my driveway at that point, and I was actually going out of town with my wife to hide, and I worried it would be like feeding seagulls at the beach.
if it was I who gave it to the media, so I asked my friend, make sure this gets out.
Well, after Comey's testimony wrapped up, President Trump's attorney suggested that Comey was not honestly describing his behavior, and maybe someone should investigate him.
Although Mr. Comey testified that he only leaked the memos in response to a tweet, the public record reveals that the New York Times was quoting from those memos the day before the referenced tweet, which belies Mr. Comey's excuse for this unauthorized disclosure of privileged information and appears to be entirely retaliatory. We will leave it to the appropriate authorities to determine whether these leaks should be investigated along with all the others that are being investigated.
So is it time for an investigation of James Comey? Dana Lash is a syndicated radio show host, and she joins us. Dana, another investigation, this one of Comey. Are you for that?
I think so. I think it warrants it, Tucker. Always good to see you. This idea that I wanted to make sure this got out. That's a weird line of reasoning. I mean, it sounds like a Rube Goldberg strategy for just getting out something simple. And I don't think that Comey needed to complicate it that much. And as Senator Marco Rubio said during the testimony, everything was leaked except for the fact that Trump wasn't under investigation, which of course explains that line at the end of the dismissal letter. Yes, you told me, Mr. Comey, 3 times that I wasn't under investigation. All Comey had to do, Tucker, was come out and say, he wasn't under investigation. This is exactly what happened. I think that he complicated this a lot for himself. Furthermore, I think that he also
if I can get hold of the communications chip inside that relay drone, I may be able to find a way to deactivate
that Loretta Lynch was able to compromise the FBI and politicize the Office of FBI Director by getting the Department of the FBI to use language of Hillary Clinton's campaign so as to benefit one candidate over the other during a general election. And I think yes, I think that absolutely should be looked into. Furthermore, Tucker, it seems as though James Comey had a lot of benefit of the doubt to give Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin, because remember, during the testimony, he said that he felt that it didn't involve criminal intent, Huma Abedin forwarding those emails onto Carlos Danger, and of course Hillary Clinton and her handling of all of this classified material. But yet, when it came to Donald Trump, who was not under investigation, he said, well, I just felt that he could possibly lie later, so I wanted to keep all of this written down.
The relay chip will allow me to temporarily blind the drone. That should give me enough time to take out the 2 radar towers.
In my opinion, that he was helping to politicize his position himself. And I don't think it would hurt anyone to further investigate this.
Well, if you live here, you recognize this immediately. His behavior is that of an entrenched
I need to destroy the radar before the drone comes back
online. To keep his job. And you can multiply Jim Comey by 20,000, and that's the federal workforce. Dana Lash, thanks a lot for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tucker.
Congressman David Cicilline is a Democrat representing the state of Rhode Island. In a statement that followed Comey's testimony, he said this: today's testimony raised new significant questions about whether President Trump committed obstruction of justice earlier this year. What were those new questions? The Congressman joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks for coming out.
Hi, Tucker. Good to be on with you again.
So, I guess let's just get to the root of this before we get to obstruction of justice.
That's the first radar tower dealt with.
Which should be obstruction of an investigation into the following question, which is, did the president collude with the Russian government to affect the outcome of the election? Do you believe that he did?
I'm assigning tech now.
Look, I don't think we have enough evidence to answer that question, but I think what we saw today was testimony from Director Comey that the President of the United States attempted to impede or influence or prevent an investigation from proceeding, and that should be concerning to everyone.
Which investigation?
This is the investigation related to Michael Flynn. He made it clear to Director Comey that he preferred that the investigation concluded. Look, this is let me get you
which, I just want to be clear what you're saying. So which investigation into Michael Flynn? The investigation into what behavior? What was the real allegation of that?
It doesn't matter. And obstruction of justice is an effort to impede, influence, or prevent an ongoing investigation. So
corruption. No, it's not.
No. Incorrect, Tucker. It is It is unlawful to attempt to interfere, impede, or influence an ongoing investigation. And so, the president...
You're a lawyer, so this is a meaningful thing. I think you're probably...
And I'm a lawyer.
Everyone else
and
is.
I'm a lawyer.
So you're saying the President of the United States does not have a constitutional right to direct investigations by his subordinates. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Listen to carefully what I'm saying. I said it is unlawful to attempt to impede, obstruct, interfere, or influence an election. It is unlawful for the president to do that with respect to directing the FBI. And so saying to the FBI director, I want you to drop that investigation, or I'd like you to drop it, is not permitted. And so the reality is, this further reinforces why we need to understand why is it that the president was so eager to stop the investigation surrounding Michael Flynn, and it just reinforces the investigation committee.
This is why you're dodging the question. This is what drives me so crazy. Because the investigation was not into whether or not Michael Flynn was colluding with the Russian government. The investigation was into whether or not...
We don't know the scope of that.
We do because the FBI director...
All we know is the president of the United States...
Yes, we do.
No, all we know is the president of the United States...
Because I have superior knowledge here.
As long as you let me finish.
I shall. The director former of the FBI said that the president was saying to him, he's a good guy, why don't you drop it? And by that, he led the investigation into whether or not Michael Flynn lied about his conversation with Russian officials once where he was spied upon by U.S. intel agencies and then leaked. It was not an investigation.
So I let you finish now. I hope you'll let me do the same. When the president of the United States tells the director of the FBI to stop an investigation that has to do with the untruthful statement of Michael Flynn, you don't know the scope of that investigation. Once that investigation begins, it may in fact lead to additional information. And the point of the fact is, it is inappropriate for the President of the United States to tell the Director of the FBI, who is responsible for overseeing an investigation, which he's already acknowledged exists, between the Trump campaign and the Russians to determine if there's collusion, to interfere with any part of that. Here's what's so shocking to me. Here's what's so shocking to the United States say that?
Is the pure... I'm against the president doing a lot of things. Tweeting, asking for loyalty. I don't like any of that stuff. But the core allegation is that he committed treason, and there's no evidence of that. And you guys, yes, every single one of you is implying that. Yes, you are.
Into my mouth. No one said he committed treason.
Yes, that's exactly what you're saying. And you're not to be honest about what you're saying.
Tucker, you're wrong.
Follow the facts.
Nobody is saying
let me ask you this question. That's exactly what you're saying.
And let's determine what those facts
Daddy,
are.
Daddy, I don't want to go to the swimming pool.
Congressman, I'm asking before I'm tired of this. Let me ask you really quick one last question.
What are you afraid of?
I guess I'm just afraid. I'm afraid of the truth, Congressman. Terrified of it. I'm afraid of seeing the U.S. government. Really, what's the #1 cause of accidental death in your state, Rhode Island?
Excuse me?
What's the #1 cause of accidental death in the state of Rhode Island? That's exactly right. And your state also had one of the lowest inflows of new people, 21% last year. I spent a lot of time in your state. It's got a lot of problems. And you're spending the majority of your time on television talking about an investigation whether or not the president committed treason.
I'd rather be talking about passing a jobs bill. I'd rather be talking about how we make the whole thing work. I'd rather be talking about how we raise
Washington's control with mass hysteria and nonsense and lying.
Russian investigations. That's what you asked to talk about. You want to talk about a jobs bill? You want to talk about infrastructure?
Yeah, I can tell. It's a key priority of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. It's not just you guys. It's them too. Wasting our time.
These investigations and this White House being rife with scandals means we can't get to what's done for the American people. Making college affordable, creating good paying jobs, raising people's income.
But just text me later and give me the number for the conference call when you're talking about your priorities. I want to get this over.
I'm trying to beat all these soldiers.
Great to see you, Congressman. Thank you. Today's hearing was treated like a sporting event in Washington. It's basically what it was. Hundreds of people going to special midday happy hours to watch the testimony. We couldn't resist sending Catherine Lyons, the famous D.C., outside to check on the partying in D.C. Look what she found.
So it's just after 9:30 in the morning, and here in D.C., the best seat in the House isn't necessarily at the hearing, it's at the bar.
And your
What time is it?
It's fight time. We're about to go catch the FBI special.
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I think it'll be interesting for sure.
A little alcohol helps, right?
Well, depending on what Comey says, a little bit more or less will be needed, so we'll see what happens.
Just wanted to be here with, like, you know, a group of people that are just interested. There's a lot of excitement in the air. It's kind of electric. People have been waiting for this moment for quite a while.
Do you think people here in D.C. and at the bar are excited about this? I mean, clearly, right? I think that you guys got here in time.
Yeah.
That one must be.
Cuba, come here. You look great. Don't be self-conscious. Come here. What do you have to say about today?
Sorry guys, day off today. I got a sick day. So, Catherine Lang showed us in the studio to answer a couple pretty simple questions. What, no one works in D.C.? They're in bars in the morning watching TV?
I would like to know what jobs that they do have.
A federal job?
Yeah, I mean, that dog clearly has had on-camera interviews before, because he didn't say anything, and he was smart about it.
How dorky is Washington? Even a House hearing draws a crowd.
You gotta love D.C. Only here will we have a politically polarizing situation that brings people together over drinks on a weekday at 9:30 a.m.
Were people actually drinking?
Yeah, why not?
That's right. I think they're more boozing in D.C. than any city in America. I think that's right.
I think they started the night before.
So did you find any, was it 100% one-sided?
No, honestly, everybody just seemed knowledgeable about the situation, and, you know, the turnout showed that they were invested, but they wanted to have a good time.
Were they cool people?
At 9 a.m., of course they are.
So you got a lot of politically active people drinking problems. If you want to call, I do want to call. Catherine Rice, thanks for your efforts. That's about it for us tonight. Tune in every night at 8 to the show that is the sworn enemy of lying, pomposity, smugness, and groupthink. Good night for a city gripped by mass hysteria. Washington, our friends in the far way to go. They're in New York. Have a great night.
Yeah. What?
Period. Come on. Period. No. Come on upstairs and watch me. Period.
Oh, Bruce. I know how you feel about this Arkham Wannabat.
Come on.
The same way I feel about those cheap Joker knockoffs you've got at the movie studios. There can only be one Joker, Bats, and it's me.
What?
I mean, you. Okay, time we did the right thing. Massacre the Arkham.
I can use the remote hacking device to temporarily blind the sentry gun.
Long, messed up, curly hair and a dress.
Somebody looking at this? Oh yeah. Oh, that's my phone.
The drone's sensors are temporarily disabled, but I can only hack one at a time. I can use the remote hacking device to temporarily blind the sentry gun.
Well, I don't do none of that. Okay, go, Amy, go do it.
Destroy the sentry gun.
Go while I'm cleaning your mess. Good. No, go take it. You don't have to go. You don't have to do it because you don't
Got
get
it.
up in the morning. You're not going tomorrow. That's fine. I'm not going. There's nothing up there.
What?
And it's not haunted, so go.
What?
And a little house. That's fine. You're not
I have some DLCs.
She's not going with you. I'm not going.
Yeah.
That's gonna stink like nasty. Get upstairs and take your bed.
What?
Emily, bye.
Alfred, I've dealt with the radar.
No,
There's just the trivial matter of a long-range missile launcher. Once it's been taken care of, I can deploy the Batwing to scan for the cloudburst.
I'm heading there now.
We've lost a second radar. He bypassed the sentry guns. How is that possible? Just keep the missile launcher in play.
The course, the propaganda media. Now, there are also some legal experts who say tonight James Comey may have broken the law.
Hey, look.
Secular will weigh in later in the show tonight. Also, Donald Trump Jr.
And this is where I go to change my skin.
Geraldo Rivera, Ari Fleischer, Sarah Carter, John Solomon, all join us. But first, the truth and the biggest takeaways from today's hearing. This is information you will not get anywhere else in the media. It's important, and it's tonight's opening monologue. Here's what we learned today from James Comey's testimony. The President of the United States never obstructed justice, and in fact, the President actually encouraged
changed my skin.
Comey to go forward with any and all investigations
I changed my skin.
into campaign associates and involvement with Russia. Now, James Comey confirmed several times that
look
the
at this
President
skin.
and the White House did not, let me say again, did not ask him to stop the Russia investigation. Now, Comey said multiple times that President Trump was not and ever under investigation, which, by the way, why did he only say this today? Why couldn't the FBI director have come out sooner? We'll answer that question tonight. Now, we also learned that James Comey selectively was leaking information to try and damage the president. What so-called champion of law and justice would ever do that to the president of the United States? Of course, the original media and Democrats, they were all proven to be completely wrong about their Russia collusion theories, and they were exposed today to be lying to you, the American people, for almost
I'm gonna have to die.
And the biggest news today was the indictment of the Obama administration and former Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Comey admitted that Lynch successfully was able to pressure him into toning down his own language when speaking publicly about Hillary Clinton's email investigation. Wow. We're going to do a deep dive into that also tonight. But I want to go back to several things I said about James Comey right here on this program on May the 9th. That was the night that he got fired. And the reason that it's so necessary to do this is you cannot look at today's testimony, as some in the media are, in this little itsy-bitsy bubble. All of Comey's past actions are relevant. Equal justice under the law. It matters. Now, Comey, this is the important part. He failed you, the American people, at every single turn. He disrespected our Constitution. He didn't care about equal application of the rule of law. He created a two-tier justice system, one for Hillary and Bill Clinton, and one for the rest of America, by ignoring the many, many crimes we know she committed. For example, remember when Comey laid out everything that was found on Hillary Clinton's private email server that she stuffed in a mom-and-pop shop bathroom closet that had top secret, classified, and even special access program information on it. Take a look
The
at this.
Batmobile can't
There is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information. 7 email chains concern matters that were classified at the top secret special access program at the time they were sent and received. Any reasonable person in Secretary Clinton's position or in the position of those with whom she was corresponding about those matters should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
Yeah.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system. But their presence is especially concerning because all of these emails were housed on unclassified personal servers, not even supported by full-time security staff, like those found at agencies and departments of the United States government, or even with a commercial email service like Gmail.
Now, Comey literally explained that Hillary Clinton broke several laws, committed several felonies, but then, well, we saw him do what he's done now multiple times. He started to play politics instead of doing his job. Now, for the record, if you or I did a fraction of what Hillary Clinton did, we would tonight be sitting in a jail cell. Christian Saucier, remember the guy behind bars for a year? He took 6 pictures inside the submarine he was so proud of working in. And then, of course, there's the Clinton Foundation and the pay-to-play scheme and the Uranium One deal. Hillary Clinton gave away 20% of America's uranium. Now, by the way, there's a real Russia scandal. Why didn't Comey bother to investigate or look into any of these things? Now, the answer is simple, and it continues to be exposed. Sadly, James Comey is nothing more than a person and a politician. This testimony once again today proved that. Let's start with Comey's motives. From the very beginning, it was very clear that he was seeking revenge and was only out to create smoke and confuse people and confuse the issues around all of this. And Comey admitted that he was bitter and upset about being fired, disgruntled, and being called out by the White House for failing miserably at his job. And then there's this exchange, which shoots down any narrative of obstruction of justice. It's gone. It's finished. Take a look. He said, I hope. Like me, you probably did hundreds of cases, maybe thousands of cases, charging people with criminal offenses. And of course, you acknowledge that there are thousands of cases out there that where people have been charged. Do you know of any case where a person has been charged for obstruction of justice, or for that matter, any other criminal offense, where they said or thought they hoped for an outcome? You may have taken this as a direction, but that's not what he said.
Correct.
He said, I hope. Wow. Amazing, right? Now, by the way, we're putting the law up on the side of the screen, and as we noted last night, if Comey thought that there were crimes being committed, he had a legal duty to come forward immediately. But Comey did not do that. Then there's the obvious question everybody's asking. During this conversation with the president that Comey was so apparently troubled by, well, why didn't he just get up and say, Mr. President, I think this is inappropriate. I think this is wrong. This exchange.
The armor on the missile launcher is too thick for me to penetrate.
Say, Mr.
It
President,
needs something
this is
with a little
wrong.
more punch.
I cannot discuss this
It's
with
being
you.
protected by a defense shield.
It's a good
I can
question.
lower it in the
Maybe if I
control
were
room.
stronger, I would have. I was so stunned by the conversation that I just took it in.
Maybe if I was stronger? That's his job. And by the way, here's another thing. If he was so concerned about the president, and he told the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, that he didn't want to be left alone in a room with him, then why did Comey continue to take the president's calls after all this had allegedly happened? Now next, there's this major revelation from Comey. You gotta watch this. Pretty amazing.
Okay.
Director Comey, did the president at any time ask you to stop the FBI investigation into Russian? Did any individual working for this administration, including the Justice Department, ask you to stop the Russian investigation?
No.
So many lies told to you by the media. Once again, Comey admitting that nobody asked him to stop the Russia investigation. Now let's move on to the next major point. After Comey was fired, he decided to leak information to the press. This is so unbelievably inappropriate and maybe a violation of law. We'll ask that question later. Watch this.
Did you show copies of your memos to anyone outside of the Department of Justice?
Yes.
And to whom did you show copies?
I asked, the president tweeted on Friday, after I got fired, that I better hope there's not tapes. I woke up in the middle of the night on Monday night, because it didn't dawn on me originally, that there might be corroboration for our conversation. There might be a tape. And my judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel. And so I asked a close friend of mine to do it.
And was that Mr. Wittes?
No.
Who was that?
A good friend of mine who's a professor at Columbia Law School.
Wow, so the fired, disgruntled ex-employee, ex-FBI director leaked details of his memo, hoping that it would bring about a special counsel? Now, this is beyond ridiculous, beyond inappropriate, and by the way, it shows you how calculated and political this guy really is. And you have to wonder, what else, Comey, did he leak before, or maybe ordered others to leak? Now, as Senator Marco Rubio pointed out, amazing point today, the only thing that wasn't leaked in all of this is the fact that President Trump was not under investigation. By the way, he was told 3 times. Now, of course, this is likely to have been done on purpose. And finally, there's the biggest bombshell revelation from today, and that is the former Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, was able to actually influence Comey in the Clinton investigation. Watch this.
The Clinton campaign at the time was using all kinds of euphemisms, security review, matters, things like that, for what was going on. We were getting to a place where the Attorney General and I were both going to have to testify and talk publicly about it. And I wanted to know, was she going to authorize us to confirm we had an investigation? And she said, yes, but don't call it that, call it a matter.
Bring the car in
and I said, why would I do that?
I can't let the militia get
and she
in
said,
re-enable the
just
defenses.
call it a matter.
Nah, not an investigation. It's a matter. And Ed
Alfred,
here.
I need you to
What
lower
about
the
meeting
bridges.
Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch had on the tarmac in a private jet.
remote
What did they
guidance
talk
system.
about before Loretta Lynch had made her decision? That is the huge scandal here, and the abuse of power.
Batman's lowering all 3 bridges into Founders Island.
Trying to influence the investigation of directly to the FBI director. How is that not obstruction of justice?
What about the Batmobile?
Activate the course. And again, did he maybe break the law? We'll ask our legal experts throughout the show. Now, also, why didn't Comey create a detailed memo about that conversation with Loretta Lynch? Now, this shows you that there is a massive double standard. Now, Comey let something like that happen with Lynch, but is now trying to go after President Trump. And by the way, Comey's biases, they're so extreme, there's so many other examples.
Yeah.
Now, Comey testified that he took, detailed memos of all of his conversations with President Trump. He didn't trust him. He thought he might lie, but he didn't do the same thing to President Obama. Now, Comey also never put Hillary Clinton under oath while she was being interviewed by the FBI, by the way, never demanded that her conversation be recorded. Why is that? And biggest of all, Comey was desperate to come out and clear Hillary Clinton's name, but he refused to do the same thing for President Trump, who, by the way, as I mentioned, he told 3 times, told the president he wasn't under investigation.
Yeah.
And then finally tonight, we have been saving this one for you on purpose. After so many months, about 10 months, of endlessly pushing back all of these black helicopter tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, what did we learn today? That there is no such thing as a Trump-Russia collusion. The media has been endlessly, recklessly lying to you night after night after night, day
I'm
after
going
day.
in the recording.
And today, they even had to admit it. Of course, the big network
I'm gonna end the
of black
recording.
helicopter theories and tinfoil hat conspiracies is NBC. Just listen to even your own Chris Matthews.